Welcome to Final Take, Stevens Point. I'm Curtis Round, and joining me tonight are Bryce Pomplin and Nathan Hansen. Bryce, we'll start with you. Are you enjoying this spring weather?
Oh, I love the spring weather. I absolutely hate winter, and I cannot wait for spring to finally be here.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to just walk everywhere and not have to worry about putting a coat on or anything like that, although this rain can stop anytime.
You complain if it's rain, snow, or sunshine, Nate.
Yep.
You're never satisfied. Well, tonight we discuss the ladies in Pointers athletics, the Wisconsin Badgers in the collegiate basketball world, our athletes of the week, and the start of the NFL free agency. We begin tonight with the Pointers women's basketball team. UWSP defeated DePauw 65-50 on Friday night in the first round of the NCAA tournament to advance to the second round, where they took on second-ranked George Fox. The Pointers started the game on a 10-1 run and were up by as many as 11 in the second quarter. However, they were unable to hold off the Bruins and lost 62-59 in a nail-biter. Joanne Wolfenberg had 16 points and 10 rebounds, while Ali Maselli added 7 points and 8 boards. Justine Benner led the Bruins with 16 points. The Pointers were 18 of 29 from the free throw line and committed 27 turnovers. Nate, we'll start with you. What hurt the Pointers most in this game?
I think it's obvious. I think it's just that 27 turnovers. I mean, they struggled with turnovers all year, kind of held them back. With turnovers, you can't get into your offense anyway when you commit turnovers all the time as often as they did, and that really hurt them to not be able to get going against this Bruins team who made a late run, and the Pointers come back right at them.
So I think it was the shot attempts. George Fox took 17 more shots than the Pointers. I believe they shot like 59-42. And even though the Pointers shot a better percentage, if the other team is taking that many more shots, they're probably going to score more points, which was the case.
Because you're turning it over to them 27 times.
Yeah, but Stevens Point did out-rebound them, I believe, like 45-27. So they did have they had more offensive rebounds, so they could have had some second chance points. But like I said, you're turning the ball over that many times, you're not going to win.
It was a couple games back in the regular season. I mentioned this. I can't remember who was with me calling the game, but I mentioned turnovers are going to be key in this NCAA tournament when they go up against a good team like George Fox, number 2 in the country, and it was proven. They've struggled all year with turnovers early in that first quarter and first half, and then when they do good in that first half, they usually start off sluggish in that second half too. So those turnovers caught up to them, and when you're playing a good team like that, you are not going to win. Well, they only lost 2 seniors on the team. Bryce, we'll start with you. Can we expect this team to go further in the tournament next year?
I don't think so. I mean, the 2 seniors that they lost were 2 starters. Ali Maselli, she was averaging, I believe, 12 points and 9 rebounds a game. That's a lot of production that they got to replace. And Wolfenberg was a 5-4 player, 5 points, 4 rebounds, a solid role player. I mean, I don't know how good the incoming freshmen are going to be, but that's a lot of production that they got to replace. So I think maybe another first or second round exit.
I think they'll make it a few more rounds because they lost Autumn Hennis midway through this year. And when they had her, they were rolling. Obviously, Joanne Wolfenberg wasn't a big part of their offense this year, but Ali Maselli was their most consistent player all year on both ends of the floor, and losing her is going to hurt a lot. And Autumn Hennis will make up for that a little bit. I think everyone else will get some more experience, obviously. So I think they'll make it another few rounds, but overall, they're probably not going to be a whole lot different.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's going to be too much fall off. You saw at the end of the year, and even in those 2 games this past weekend, you had Erin Crownover. She was pretty big for them late in the season. She's a freshman. I think this whole team is going to succeed for the next couple of years. They got a lot of good young talent. Peyton Mix is another one in there. That's good. I think she's got that hook shot, I believe. I think that's her. And she's been pretty good down the stretch for them. So this team, I think, has a lot going for their future. And I remember last year looking at this, and we said such a young team, but they grew so much this year. And I think they're going to keep rolling. I really do. Well, we'll go to the ice now. The third-ranked men's hockey team topped River Falls in double overtime on a Lawrence Cornelia goal to beat the Falcons 40-3 to win the Commissioner's Cup and the WIAC Championship. With the win, the Pointers received an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament, where they will take on Adrian on March 19th. Adrian at one point was the #1 team in the country, at a site yet to be determined. The game will be played in Stevens Point if Adrian women's hockey team hosts a Frozen Four. If not, the game will be played in Adrian. The Pointers and Bulldogs split the regular season series, with each team winning at home. Bryce, what do the Pointers have to do to defeat the Bulldogs again?
They got to tighten up their defense. I mean, I was watching Stevens Point play Eau Claire a couple weekends ago, and even though Eau Claire only had 13 shots on goal, they allowed 3 goals, I believe, or 2 goals, and that's just unacceptable. You're allowing only 13 shots. You got to at least save 12 of those.
Yeah, they just got to start faster. I mean, that's how they beat Adrian. They got ahead right away, and they kind of held that lead, which the past few games they haven't been able to do. They've lost that lead. They've outshot almost everyone they've played this year, so the offense really hasn't been a problem. They just got to start fast and finish some of those shots that they're taking early on.
Yeah, I want to say in that River Falls championship game, they were up, I think, 3-0 or something close to that in that third period, and they just kind of fell apart in that later half of that end of the period there, and River Falls comes storming back. They're lucky they came out in overtime on top, but they got to keep playing well because this team, they can go places with this roster. Well, I mean, it's been a question every year, it seems like, for this Point hockey team. Can they win the championship?
See, if they have to go on the road to Adrian, I think it's going to be a first-round exit for them. Like I said, Adrian, they were ranked number 1 in the country at the time, and the only reason why they're not ranked number 1 in the country anymore is because they had to come to Stevens Point, and Stevens Point got the win. But if the game is in Stevens Point, I would see Stevens Point beating Adrian, that home ice advantage. It's going to be critical, I believe, in the playoffs.
I think they're going to get to the championship game. They'll probably lose, and there'll be another runner-up finish. It just seems like they're just one player away or one play away. They're going to make it, but they're not going to take it all.
Well, we move on to the women's side of things now. The team saw their season come to an end with a 4-1 loss to River Falls on Saturday. Logan Harper scored the lone goal for the Pointers. Nate, what did you take away from this season? It seems like every year this women's team, they come so far, they have a really good regular season, and they just falter at the end.
Yeah, I mean, River Falls has ended their season, I think, the past 3 seasons now. So they've kind of been a nemesis and kind of the hill that Stevens Point hasn't been able to get over. But this year was a surprising year for them. They won, I think, 12 or 13 one-goal games, which has been kind of a struggle for them in the past couple of years. And it's a pretty young team. Got a lot of growing to do next year. I know Coach Ann Ninneman, she's really excited about the team, and she has those girls playing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, they won 17 games. I believe the final record was like 17-8-1. I mean, that's something you can build off. Like this, it's a solid season. It's not something to hang your head about.
Well, we move to the baseball field now. The UWSP baseball team began its season on March 17th when they traveled to Florida for 9 games over spring break. The Pointers have a new coach as Jeremy Jerschel takes over for Pat Bloom. What can we expect from the Pointers this year with Jerschel at the helm?
Well, I know Bloom's had a lot of success the last, I believe, 4 seasons. They've all been 30-plus wins. I mean, I believe Jerschel, he's got to get to that 30-point mark if he wants to have a successful career here at Point. I mean, that's what the criteria has been established by Bloom, 30 wins a year.
Yeah, Jerschel's been here. He's been an assistant coach for the past few years, so he kind of knows the system. He knows the players a little bit, so I'm not worried about that. I don't think there'll be any fall off in the last couple of years. I think they're ranked number 11 right now in the preseason polls, so they just got to go at it. I think bringing a new attitude, new energy, it might even be better than the past few years.
Well, stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're discussing Wisconsin Badgers basketball, the rest of the collegiate basketball world, and our athletes of the week.
Got an itch to be on air? Join the SBTV News crew. Being an on and off-air reporter will help you gain experience in interviewing, shooting and editing video, and reporting behind the anchor desk. Join SBTV News, pointing to you.
My name is Jackie Lang. I graduated from UW Stevens Point in 2013. I started off coming to general members meetings, showing up for the shows. From the first show that I was a part of, I just absolutely loved it. Now that I've graduated, I currently work at WFRV TV, which is Channel 5, the CBS affiliate in Green Bay. I also freelance for Lashbro Visual Communications. All of my experience, all of my knowledge came from SPTV, and I will forever be grateful to this organization for that.
Welcome back, Stevens Point. The Wisconsin Badgers men's basketball team finished the regular season on Sunday, falling 91-80 at Purdue. Nigel Hayes scored 30 points and 8 rebounds, with Ethan Happ scoring 14 with 6 boards. However, the Badgers' defense went missing as the Boilermakers shot 62% of the field, including 53% from beyond the arc. The Badgers once again finished in the top 4 in the conference in a 3-way tie for third. Due to the tiebreakers, the Badgers will be the 6th seed in this week's Big Ten tournament and will face the winner of Rutgers and Nebraska Thursday night. Bryce, we'll start with you. Can the Badgers defend the Big Ten tournament title, and how do they do it?
I'm going to say no. I don't believe the Badgers will get past Maryland in the second round. There's a lot of good teams in the Big Ten, and the Badgers, they're one of the top, but they're not the top team. So I don't see them getting even to the championship game to defend the title.
I'm agree with you on that, just because the Big Ten's such a grindhouse, and you really don't know what you're going to get from them. I think they'll probably win the first game, whether it's against Nebraska or Rutgers, probably Nebraska. Then they'll probably beat Maryland, because I think Maryland's a little overrated, but I think they're going to struggle, and I think honestly the team that's going to win this tournament is going to be Purdue.
Well, with other conference holding their tournaments as well, Nate, which one should we keep an eye on?
There's going to be a lot of good ones. I mean, the ACC tournament, that's another conference that's all over the place. I mean, UNC won it in the regular season, but you got Miami, you got Virginia, you got Duke. All those teams are capable. But I think a lot of the non-power conferences, there's a lot of upsets, and there's been a lot of upsets in those games so far, and those are going to be fun to watch.
See, the tournament you really got to watch is the Big Ten tournament. They have 7 teams going, not the Big Ten, the Big 12. They're going to have 7 teams in the NCAA tournament. That's going to be 70% of their league. That is the league of death right there.
That's true.
Everyone is so talented in that league. I'm going to be tuning in for sure on that one.
Well, let's go to some teams that are on the bubble who are looking to make the NIT as well. Let's start with Michigan. What do you think of them?
I think they're out.
Wow, just right to the point. I like it.
Yep.
If Michigan wins 2 games in the Big Ten tournament, they're in. But they have to win 2.
What about those Buckeyes, Bryce?
Buckeyes, they're in the same boat as Michigan. They got to win. They got to win 2 games in the Big Ten tournament to solidify their resume. They haven't really had the big win.
I think Ohio State has to win the whole tournament to be in.
What about those LSU Tigers?
Sorry, Ben Simmons, but pack your bags. I know you don't for class, but have fun with being the number 1 pick. But good luck getting into the tournament.
Yeah, LSU, their only chance of making the tournament is win the SEC tournament, and I don't see that happening. So they're NIT for sure, and I don't even know if they're going to make the NIT. They might be CBI.
What about Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, they have to. If Pittsburgh beats Syracuse in the first round of the ACC, they are in. If they lose to Syracuse, they are out.
Same situation, but I think if Syracuse beats Pittsburgh, they're in. One of those 2 teams is going to be in.
What about Zag Nation, Nate?
It's going to be tough if they don't win their conference. They're in the championship game against St. Mary's, which it seems like they have been for the past 10 years. But if they don't win, that's going to be tough because there's a lot of teams right in that bubble that are right there.
Yeah, I was watching the semifinal game last night, and man, I thought BYU was going to beat Gonzaga. Gonzaga doesn't really have a premier win. I believe that if Gonzaga loses to St. Mary's, they will be out of the NCAA tournament. But if Gonzaga would win, St. Mary's would steal a bid from some team. I believe St. Mary's will receive an at-large bid if they don't win the WCC.
And sticking with you, Bryce, right now, if you got a team to watch out for in this tournament, who do you got?
Let's see. I'm leaning towards maybe Miami. I mean, they had a player suspended for 3 games and they kind of faltered at the end, but otherwise they should have won the ACC, like straight out outright. If they didn't lose, I can't remember his name, but I know he was suspended. He was a key player. So they're definitely going to be a team to beat in the ACC tournament, and they're going to be a surprise underdog in the NCAA tournament.
I think kind of a knockout that's going to knock a few teams out is going to be Oregon. They've flown under the radar all year, struggled a little bit at time, but Dylan Brooks is a heck of a player for them. And I think another team that's on the brink that's going to make a big run is St. Bonaventure and the Bonnies. They're on the brink right now. They're a bubble team, but if they get in, look out.
Well, it's now time to reveal our athletes of the week, a new segment we're doing here. Nate, we'll start with you.
I'm going with Evan Dixon, the Pointers men's hockey team player. He won the 2016 Max Sparger Scholar Athlete. He was a co-recipient with Eau Claire, and kind of capped his season. I mean, he's been great on the ice as well, but it's even nicer to see a guy like that get rewarded for his academics.
See, I'm going to the NBA. I'm going Giannis Antetokounmpo. He got 2 triple-doubles last week. I mean, that's quite a feat. He now has 3 triple-doubles on the season and 3 triple-doubles for his career. So he had a heck of a week last week.
Well, let's give an update for folks at home on the WIAA boys basketball playoffs. Spash defeated Chippewa Falls 105-57. That's not an error. In the regional final, and we'll take on Superior in the sectional semifinal on March 10th at Wausau West High School. We are going to take a quick break here, but when we return, we will start talking about the NFL free agency, and we'll have our first rant of the week. Stay tuned.
How can you get involved with student media at UWSP? Connecting with your campus television station, SBTV, is easy. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Vine, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Pinterest, follow us on Instagram, or connect with us on Google+. But of course, the best way for you to get involved and stay up to date with all that is happening at our station is to stop by our studio. We're located in the Communication Arts Center at UWSP, Studio B, Room 121. You can also drop by our office, Room 130, for more information on station happenings. We can't wait to get you involved. Come join us at SPTV. Let's make media together.
Interested in TV and like to talk about sports? Then Final Take is the thing for you. Final Take films every Tuesday at 4 p.m. in the CAC Room 121. Come and join the fun. At Final Take, anything Pointers, anything sports.
Don't let the snow and cold get you down this winter. The frozen tundra outside may keep you indoors, but here at SPTV, we'll still be getting you the best news, sports coverage, and entertainment that you need. Don't freeze your fingers and toes off to find out what's happening around campus. Stay warm, everyone.
Well, gentlemen, I feel like it's almost Christmas time here in the NFL. I love this time of year. It's a new league year beginning this week in the NFL, and we already have seen some of the biggest moves of the offseason. The Eagles are just trading away everyone Chip Kelly has brought in. He's traded DeMarco Murray to the Titans, and we'll start with just a few moves. We'll start with the Eagles right away. You had Murray to the Titans. You had Kiko Alonso along with Byron Maxwell to the Dolphins. We'll start with that. What did you think of that move, Bryce? And I mean, it seems like the Dolphins are going strong here in free agency.
See, based on recent free agencies, the team that spends the most and goes out the most usually is the team that flops the most. I mean, if we all remember the dream team of the Eagles a couple of seasons ago, they went out and bought all those high-priced free agents, and they finished 8-8. The Dolphins, I don't see them being a very strong contender. Maybe a 9-win team, even with all these moves. The winners of free agency aren't the winners of the playoffs.
Wait, before you go on though, I mean, look at Denver. Their defense. They took some free agents. What was that last year? I mean, they had DeMarcus Ware, Aqib Talib, There was another guy I'm forgetting in there, but
See,
they went all
those
over
guys.
defense.
Those guys
Thank
are
you.
veterans.
Yeah, there's
They were
different kind of
taking.
players.
They were taking reduced salaries. Like these guys, the Dolphins, they're going out for the high-price free agent. They're going out for the big money makers. The guys that just want the money, not the guys that are looking to win the Super Bowl, like the Ware and the Aqib Talib.
And reaction from him, but also, do you think the move for the Titans is going to help Mariota at all as well?
You might as well try. I mean, they were throwing out garbage in the backfield last year. They had nobody out there, so I think it's going to help. And I don't think DeMarco Murray's problem last year was because of him more so. I think it was more so the scheme. And that terrible offense Chip Kelly was trying to throw DeMarco Murray under, it wasn't very good for him. And I think to go back to your Dolphins moves, I think you talked about that. The biggest winners of free agency that we look at now probably aren't the biggest winners at the end of the season. I mean, look at Ndamukong Suh. He was awful the first half of last season. They said he was running his own plays out there. So that's what happens when you give guys money. They don't really try that hard. And that's what I think will happen
and
again.
And a better quote that you guys are just trying to get out there, as a great Panthers GM always says, you don't win the Super Bowl in March. Let's go through some of these moves that have happened. They're set in stone. They're just waiting for tomorrow to come around. What is it, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern, something like that. You got Malik Jackson going to Jacksonville. Jason Pierre-Paul is going back to the New York Giants. Some other ones, Tom Ali staying in KC. Dwayne Allen was sticking with the Colts. Kaliche Asamale, I might have pronounced that right, to the Raiders. Kelvin Johnson retiring, that's big news for you. Mario Williams heading to the Dolphins. Richie Incognito signs with the Bills on a 3-year deal. And then Ben Watson to the Raiders. And we'll talk about rumors here in a little bit, but what did you think of those moves, especially being a Lions fan, too?
Yeah, I was going to say the biggest move.
It's kind of Carolina colors, but
no, it's definitely a Lions blue. But yeah, the biggest move so far has been the Calvin Johnson retiring. Probably one of the greatest receivers ever to play in the NFL. I really wish Detroit would have gave him a playoff win, because he never won the playoffs. And I don't know how you replace a talent like that. 1,000 receiving yards, I believe, in every season, multiple 10-touchdown seasons. He required double, even triple coverage almost every week in, week out, and just I don't know how you replace that.
No, I think that could play into the Lions' hands, because they're not going to owe him all this more money. And I think when they had Calvin Johnson, they weren't really focused on getting other receivers, because they were like, oh, we have Calvin Johnson. We'll just chuck it up, he'll catch it. Well, now you don't have him. Now you actually got to look to build through a passing scheme and things of that nature, which I feel like they probably haven't as much when they had Calvin Johnson. So it might actually help them a little bit.
What's some of these other moves, just besides the Lions that I mentioned? What do you guys think of those?
I think Malik Jackson, Jacksonville, chasing that money, a lot of money he's going to get. Osemele to the Raiders, he's going to get a lot of money. He's going to get one of the highest offensive lineman contracts in history. And I think the Raiders are actually kind of a destination for teams to go to now with the way Derek Carr. David Carr.
Derek Carr. David was the bust in Houston.
Derek Carr.
Cutting you off a little bit. What do you guys think of Ben Watson? I mean, they went out, got Max Williams first round, and now they bring in another tight end.
I don't think Ben Watson's that good of a tight end. He's old. He's slow. He's big. I don't like that move.
Coming from a guy whose team doesn't know what they're doing with their tight ends.
The move that really stuck out is going to be Lamar Miller to the Texans. I believe the Texans are going to be the team to beat next year. Like, they're slowly. They got J.J. Watt on the defensive side. They're going to have Jadeveon Clowney. He's coming off injuries. They got a really strong defense. If they can sneak in a Brock Osweiler at the quarterback, if they can get him to come too, I believe that's going to be the team to beat. They're my dark horse next year.
Move this along a little bit. Let's go to the Packers. There's rumors they're liking Matt Forte. Julius Pepper's trying to bring him in, along with Packers having interest in Martellus Bennett. You know, Richard Rodgers isn't the cream of the crop there at tight end. And you look at, is it a possibility? Could this be a Bears to Green Bay pipeline coming up here? It seems like it's starting to slowly turn into that.
Yeah, I think so, because guys are going to take reduced salaries to come to Green Bay, which I think is what Matt Forte would do. Personally, I'm not a big fan of bringing Matt Forte in. We still got James Starks. Re-sign him to a cheap deal. He's doing just fine. He's a great change of pace, and a lot of the problem this year with the running game was Lacey, and he's going to get better in the offseason. He's already shown some trends of getting fit, working with P90X people, so he's getting back in shape. He'll be all right. I don't think Matt Forte is a big need, but adding a guy like Martellus Bennett, if he can stay healthy and he comes to Green Bay, that's a huge upgrade at tight end position.
And you're outsider. You're in the division as a fan, but you're not the Bears or a Packers fan. So what do you think of the move? You think the Packers are winners in this one?
I'm really
If it landed?
hoping that they get Matt Forte and not Martellus Bennett, because Matt Forte, like you said, is not a need. To create that three-headed backfield, that's really going to disrupt Eddie Lacy's career, because he's a guy that he needs carries to get going. He's not a good go in there for one play, receive a carry, and break it off for 60 yards. He's a guy, I need 30 carries to get 100 yards, pound the defense down. And they bring in Matt Forte, that's going to disrupt his flow. And I think that's going to stall out the Packers' offense if Lacy can't get it going. Because, I mean, Rodgers can only do so much, is what you saw last year.
And let's just make this quick. Just throw out a name. You're the Lions. What's one guy you want to see them sign in free agency?
Honestly, I don't want them to see him sign anyone.
All right, good enough. Nate, what do you got for the Packers? One guy you want them to sign. Don't give me a reason.
Danny Trevathan, the linebacker.
All right, well, it looks like the Bears are going to be locking up him. He must be off of Twitter, but that's almost locked in for the Bears. So it looks like Trevathan might be going there, and that's one guy you do not want to be playing against if you're the Packers. Me, for Carolina, it's escaping me right now. I can't even think the guy's name, but the safety from Eric Weddle, safety from San Diego. I hope they can land him somehow. But let's move. Let's go one more here. A question for the NFL free agency, and that's, what is one trade you could see happening that is just unexpected? It's kind of like the trade last year with Jimmy Graham. If you had something in mind, what were you thinking? Trying to put you on the spot.
Yeah, you definitely put me on the spot. I could see the Texans trading, if they don't get Brock Osweiler, if they could trade somehow for a quarterback. Like, it might sound crazy, but if they could pry away Eli Manning from the Giants, that would make the Texans perennial Super Bowl favorites by far.
Nate, anything that comes to mind?
I think it'd be a team making a move like the Colts going after running back. They struggled with that. Or Miami going after running back. Miami's making all these moves already.
Giving us a boring move. I liked your bold.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Nothing bold here, Nate. Nothing crazy. I mean, we didn't expect the Jimmy Graham last year, any of those big trades, anything?
That was a contract situation more so I don't really see there's any big guys that are unhappy anywhere.
Well, it's now time for our joke and rant of the week. Whoever gets the answer to the joke gets to rant about whatever they would like. If nobody gets the answer, of course I get to rant. Why was the stadium hot after the game? And we'll start with Bryce. Why was the stadium hot after the game? I have the answer right under here. Got 5 seconds. All right, you got
some
nothing.
touchdowns. I have no idea.
What do you got?
Because all the fans left.
And the answer is, wrong sheet here.
Was John Madden the
Because
announcer?
all the fans left. Nate is right. He had the cheat from Joss, and I'm sure he did.
Nope, I did not.
He didn't want me to rant about Peyton Manning, but go ahead, Nate.
I'm going to rant about the Eagles and Chip Kelly a little bit. So they got rid of Chip Kelly this offseason. Overpaid Sam Bradford to bring him back, $26 million or something like that. They traded away DeMarco Murray, traded away Byron Maxwell and his huge contract that they should have never signed him to in the first place, traded away Kiko Alonso. They did one move today. They signed Leonis McKelvin, so that might help a little bit, but that's not going to make up for – you traded away LaShawn McCoy to get Kiko Alonso, first of all, and now you're trading away Kiko Alonso. So you trade away LaShawn McCoy basically for nothing right now. Should have never signed Byron Maxwell to a 6-year, $53 million deal anyway. Now you have to get rid of him. And you overpay Sam Bradford, who has been probably one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league so far. Did not have a great year last year. They should have never traded away DeMarco Murray because they're not going to get back for him what he's worth.
Well, Nate, I say the rant failed because you're not red in the face right now, but that's all the time we have for today. We thank everyone for tuning in with us. Thank Bryce Pomplin and Nathan Hansen for joining me on the debate desk with their insightful opinions. Big thanks to our technical staff and all their hard work to make this possible. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at SPTV UWSP Television or follow us on Twitter at SPTV_UWSP. Also visit the UWSP homepage to locate all your Pointers athletic information. And just remember, fellow Stevens Point, here at Final Take, anything Pointers, anything sports, and enjoy the nice weather out there.